Shalom. I give all praise, honor, and glory. Going to Salakia, y'all. Hold on, Salakia. All right, all praise, honor, and glory going to Yahweh. By Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Krakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Salutations to all you Akim that's out there pushing this truth with all honesty and sincerity. By way of the highways and byways, going out in the streets, teaching and preaching. And also by way of the internet. Shalom to you very few sisters that's out there listening and learning. Going back to the names, Yahweh being the Heavenly Father name, which means He is or He exists. Bahashem means coming in the name. And what the world ignorantly calls JC or Jesus Christ, His name is not Jesus Christ. It's not Yeshua. It's not Yeshua. It's not Yehoshua. It's not Jesus. It's not Jesus Christos. It's not Yeshaya. It's not Ashaya. His name is Yahweh Shai. All right, which means He saves or He delivers. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are the true biblical Hebrew Israelites. This is your brother Nayab, and I'm back with another lesson. So as you can see on the screen, I'm just gonna name this one. All right, this doctrine. All right, the belief in this truth and this doctrine. All right, leads to salvation. Okay, what you see on the screen is somebody being beamed up. In our times, this is the way of how the elect will be saved. All right, they're going to be beamed up. Okay, and so yeah, man. Like what I said, this gonna be a quick one. Like what I said, this one true doctrine leads to salvation. All right, leads to salvation. All right, so I just want to get a quick definition of salvation, just to see what they have on here. Then we just gonna get into the scripture. Salvation, a deliverance from the power and effects of sin. All right, like Paul said, "Who shall deliver me from the body of this death?" All right, let me see. It's Romans. And you know, it's crazy. I wasn't even thinking about going into this, but it's cool. It's through the Spirit. This is Romans chapter 7, and I'm gonna probably start at 14. I wanted to see if I can get this thing right here to do better, but I don't know. It's cool though. Anyway, this is Romans 7 and 14. It says, "For we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal under sin." It says, "For that which I do, I'll allow not. For what I would, that do I not. But what I hate, that I do." It said, "If I do that which I would not, I consent unto the law that is good. That is good." It says, "Now then is no more I that do it, but sin that dwelleth in me." All right, because what you have when you're down here, you constantly, being tempted. Sirach 2 and 1, prepare thy soul for temptation. So when you're in this truth, you're gonna be tried a lot, right? And you know, you know, it just be things that end up happening and you can't even help it, all right? And you try to do good all the time, but you know, it's always sin is always gonna be there, you know, because we can't be made perfect until Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah come back, all right? It says, "For I know that in me that is in my flesh dwelleth no good thing." All right, so the flesh, because the flesh, um, like it says, the mind is Let me see if I can find that. Give me 2 seconds, y'all. All right, this is Jeremiah 17:9. I'm just going off the spirit right now. It says the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? All right, because you got to understand your mind and the things of the flesh. All right, want to please the flesh. All right, and your mind is always, you got to keep yourself in check. You know what I'm saying? Because your mind is desperately wicked. Now let's get this in the NLT. It says the human heart is most deceitful of all things and desperately wicked. All right. Now, what else I want to get? I wish there was like, how can I explain this? No, it's cool. It don't have to be split. My bad, y'all. I'm just looking for something. I forgot where it be at though. All right. Anyway, Jeremiah 17:9 in the NLT. Because I'm trying to make this page so that the words can be like bigger or whatever. But I don't know. I'll figure it out next time. I just don't like the words being so small. I can see it, but I don't know about y'all eyes. Sometimes, it be older people that's looking at the video, or sometimes it just be people with bad eyesight. I don't have the greatest eyesight I got in contact. So, anyway, Jeremiah 17:9 in the NLT, it says, the human heart, all right, which is the mind, is most deceitful of all things and destroyed and desperately wicked. It says, who really knows how bad it is? All right. What it says in the AMP. In the AMP, it says, the heart is deceitful above all things, and it is extremely sick. Who can understand it fully, know its secret moves? You know? Right. All right. So let's go back to this Romans 7. And Romans 7:18 again says, for I know that in me that is in my flesh dwelleth no good thing, for to will is present with me, but how to perform that which is good I find not. For the good that I do not, but the evil which I would that I do. It says, now if I do that I would not, it is no more I that do it, but sin that dwelleth in me. It says I find then a law that when I would do good, evil is present with me. All right, so it's always Satan always gonna be fucking with you. It says, for I delight in the law of the Most High after the inward man, but I see another law in my members, all right, warring against the law of my mind and bringing me into captivity to the law of sin, which is in my members. All right, it's flesh. It says, O wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from the body of this death? All right, so that's why it says that. All right, because you want to get out of this flesh, man. All right, so let's go ahead. I want to get into one of my first precepts. All right, and like going back to that word salvation, when it says that deliverance from the power and effects of sin, right? And that's why I brought that up with the Paul situation, right? Because you want to be delivered from, always being tempted and, things like that. But you're being tempted to be made perfect at the end of the day. But, you know, you want to know when it ends is all. All right, so this is Philippians chapter 1, verse 27. It says, only let your conversation be as it becometh the gospel of Hamashiach Yahushai, that whether I come and see you or else be absent, I may hear of your affairs. It says that ye stand fast in one spirit, with one mind, striving together for the faith of the gospel. All right, and that's our job. All right, that is our job. That's what we're supposed to be doing. All right, striving together, one spirit, speaking one doctrine. Okay. And I was gonna go in. I might go into Ezekiel. Let's see how fast we can do this lesson, though. This is 1 John 5 and 6 about false prophets. I'm always trying to do videos about false prophets and stuff. It says this is he that came by water and blood, even Yahushua Mashiach, not by water only, but by water and blood. And it is the Spirit that beareth witness, because the Spirit is the truth. All right, the Spirit is truth. Let me grab this. I'm still trying to look for this thing too. I forgot how it is. My bad, y'all. I'm doing like two things at once. Salakia. Give me 2 seconds. Where is that at? This should look way different on my phone compared to on here, and I do not know why. Like on my phone, it's a hella more. It's a hella more on my phone. We'll worry about it towards the end of the lesson. It's kind of a thorn in my ass. But anyway, I ain't gonna let it hold me up or anything like that. I thought it would have been like, maybe it was some options or something on this bitch. There ain't no options on here. Let me see what settings say. Bible format. Strong's home page. Bar. I don't know. Application bar. Wide screen layout. I don't know. I don't know, y'all. I was trying to figure it out for y'all. But they ain't giving me nothing. Anyway, continuing in the lesson. It's 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 14. All right, it says, and the Most High have both raised up Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, all right, and will also raise up us by his own power. All right, it says, know ye not that your bodies are the members of Hamashiach, Yahushai? It says, shall I then take the members of Hamashiach and make them the members of an harlot? It says, the Most High forbid. It says, what? It says, what know ye not that he which is joined to an harlot is one body? All right. It says, for two, saith he, shall be one flesh. All right. It says, so when you go back, like, let's get this in the NLT as well. All right. 1 Corinthians 6 and 14. 14. It says, and the Most High will raise us from the dead by his power, just as he raised our Lord, Yahushai, all right, from the dead. It says, don't you realize that your bodies are actually parts of Hamashiach? It says, should a man take his body, which is part of Hamashiach, and join it to a prostitute? It says, never. All right. All right, meaning this doctrine. Don't be taking this doctrine and don't be taking this doctrine and then, you know how people be going on and having all these debates, and then you start to develop everybody else's philosophies, and then you start to try to mix the doctrine with their doctrine, and then that's when you go off. All right. It says, and don't you realize that if a man joins himself to a prostitute, he becomes one body with her? For the scriptures say, the two are united into one, right? In verse 17 it says, but the person who is joined to the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai is one spirit with him. All right, so you got to be joined with the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right, you can't be mixing this doctrine with every other doctrine and stuff like that that's out there. All right, and that's why a lot of people just bugged out, you know. Give me 2 seconds, y'all. I want to see something right quick. All right. This is let me go back. Let me grab this right quick. I thought if I went on to a different one, maybe it would have did something different. But we gonna figure out that problem. Anyway, I'm very when I get stuck on something, man, I get stuck on it. You know, I don't like when shit don't look right. Anyway, this is Ephesians chapter 4, verse 1. All right, it says, I therefore the prisoner It says united. It says unity of the spirit. All right. It's a heading. It says, I therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, Yahweh Shai, beseech you that ye walk worthy of the vocation wherewith ye were called. Okay, what is a vocation? Right. Let's just get a regular definition of vocation. Right. Let's get some synonyms. Profession, occupation, work, employment. All right. So your employment, this is your job, your vocation, your occupation. All right. So it says, I therefore, the prisoner of Yahweh Shai, beseech you that ye walk worthy of the occupation or vocation wherewith ye were called. All right. So this is our job. All right. We was called to this thing. It says, with all lowliness and meekness and with long suffering, forbearing one another in love. What this do? I don't do nothing. It says verse 2, Ephesians 4:2, it says, with all lowliness and meekness and long suffering, forbearing one another in love. It says, enduring to keep the unity of the spirit in the bound of peace. It says, there is one body and one spirit, even as ye are called in one hope of your calling. One Lord, one faith, one baptism. It says, one power, all right, and Father of all, who is above all, and through all, and it says in and in you all right. But to every one of us is given grace according to the measure of the gift of Hamashiach Yahushai, all right. So everybody has their gift in this thing, all right. Let's get this in the NLT. All right, in the NLT it says verse 1, Ephesians 4:1 in the NLT, and it says the unity in the body. All right, it's the subhead, and it says, therefore I, a prisoner for serving Yahweh shall beg you to lead a life worthy of your calling, for you have been called by the Most High. Always be humble and gentle, be patient with others. All right, now that right there, being patient, people read, man, you gotta have patience, man. You know, this whole thing of ours is about having patience and enduring long suffering. It says, making allowance for each other's faults because of your love. It says, make every effort to keep yourselves united in the spirit, binding yourselves together with peace. All right, even like you got the brothers to go on the comment boards. You know, we add on to other brothers' lessons. You know, sisters come on there, shalom. You know, and or you got some sisters help out brothers and things like that. You know. But you got the brothers online, and everything, you know, we just be rolling with the precepts off of each other, All right, all in one truth. It says, for this is one body and one spirit, just as you have been called to the glorious hope for the future. There is one Lord, one faith, one baptism, and one power and Father. All right, when I say power, because God means power. All right. In one God or one power and Father, who is over all and in all and living through all. All right. However, He has given each of us a special gift through the generosity of Hamashiach Yahushai. All right. I'm gonna look something up on the computer right quick. Two seconds, y'all. Slakia, y'all, bear with me, bear with me. Yeah, I don't know. That's different. Anyway, let's go to our next verse, man. I was still trying to look that stuff up. So let's go to 1 Corinthians 12. All right, this is 1 Corinthians 12 and 13. But I ain't gonna be able to find it probably. I'm gonna end up messing around with it and find it. I will find it. It says for 1 Corinthians 12, yeah, and 13. It says, for by one spirit, no, I'll start at 12. It says, for as the body is one and have many members. All right, it says, and all members of that body being many are one body, so also in is Hamashiach. For by one spirit are we all baptized into one body, whether be Jews or Gentiles, all right, whether we be bond or free, and have been all made to drink into one spirit. All right, and going to the Gentiles, all right, who do you think the Gentiles are? All right, it's going to be the Israelite foreigners or the brothers who didn't know they was Israelites. All right, who was keeping the, like how we all was. All right, we was once Gentiles. Okay, because we didn't know about Yahushua and this truth. You know, it says, for the body is not one member but many. It says, if the foot shall say, because I am not the hand, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? And if the ear shall say, because I am not the eye, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? If the whole body were an eye, whether it says where were the hearing? Where were the hearing? If the whole were hearing, where were the smelling? It says, but now hath the Most High set the members, every one of them, in the body as it hath pleased them. All right, so everybody has their role. All right, everybody has, like, you know how you assign seats, like in school, everybody's assigned, all right, their role in this thing. All right, it says, and if they were all, and we all help each other. All right, you just like a real body. You need your pinky, you need your thumb, you need your hand, you need your foot, right? You need your eye, you need your kneecap. Shit, you need your elbow, you need your ass, you need your shoulders, you need your back. You know what I'm saying? You need your ribs and things like that. All right, and that's how we are. All right. It says in verse 19, if they were all one member, where were the body? It says, but now are they many members, yet but one body. Okay. It says, and the eye cannot say unto the hand, I have no need of thee, nor again the head to the feet, I have no need of you. All right. Go down a little bit. I'll keep reading. It says, nay, much more those members of the body which seem to be more feeble are necessary. it says, and those members of the body which we think to be less honorable, upon these we bestow more abundant honor. And all right, so you'd be like, man, shit, I don't need my pinky toe. You know, my thumb more important. No, that's not true. All right, all right. So nobody's. All right, we're all important. All right, it says, and our uncomely parts have more abundant comeliness. All right, comeliness meaning beautiful. All right, let's get that word comeliness in this. Might as well. Yeah, I do not like the way how this looks. This is really eating me alive, y'all.
Strong's G 2157. Yusche Masune.
215.
Yusche Masune. Strong's G 2157. Yusche Masune. Yusche Masune.
Yushe Nasume. Yushe Nasume, or something like that. I don't know. Oh yeah, Yushe Masume. All right. It says charm or elegance or figure, external beauty. All right. Decorum, modesty. All right. Seamless. All right. External charm. Okay. I'll just see if they had anything else. All right. So we can go back. All right. Verse 24. It says, for our comely parts have no need, but the Most High have tempered the body together, having given more abundant honor to that part which lacked. It says that there should be no schism in the body, but that the members should have the same care for one another. All right, I can think that schism mean like friction, almost in like some type of friction type. Let me see, just because of the context of a rent division. Yeah, division. See, friction, division, dissension. All right, yeah, you don't need a split or a gap. All right, you don't need somebody saying, well, um, the market of beats. All right, all right. Here it is. You know that the MOTB. All right, the mark or the C hip. All right, you know that's all right. The implantable device. All right, you know that. But then you got somebody else saying, no, I believe it's the white woman. All right, that's a gap. That's a split. That's a division. You can't have that in this thing. All right, that once, once a mold is there, then the whole thing is bad. You know, so you can't have that. All right, otherwise it has to be rooted out. You know. Okay. Anyway, my bad for my little small distractions on this video so far. But going back up to verse 25, it says that there should be no schism in the body, but that the members should have the same care one for another, and whether one member suffer, all the members suffer with it, or one member be honored, all the members rejoice with it. All right. So, you know, we all down, we all mad, we all mad, we all down. All right. One person mad, we all mad. You know, it's a team thing at the end of the day, really. You know. All right. This is Acts 2 and 42. It says, and they continue steadfastly in the apostles' doctrine and fellowship and in breaking of bread and prayers. All right. It says, and fear came upon every soul, and and many wonders and signs were done by the apostles, and all that believed were together, and had all things common. See, and sold their possessions and goods, and parted them to all men as every man had need. It says, and they continue continuing daily with one accord in the temple, and breaking bread from house to house, did eat their meat with gladness and singleness of heart, It says, praising the Most High and having favor with all the people. And the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua added to the church daily such as should be saved. All right. So they was, amongst each other, discussing the scriptures, talking about the scriptures. All right. Because because verse 46, it says, and they continue, no, verse 42, when you go to verse 40, I said verse 42, it says, and they continue steadfastly in the apostles' doctrine and fellowship, all right, in breaking of bread, all right, and in prayers, all right, breaking bread amongst each other, all right. That's what that means. Now, let me get this in the NLT as well, because I don't think I got this in the NLT before. It's Acts 2 and 42 in the NLT. It says, all the believers devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship and sharing meals, including the Lord's Supper and to prayer. A deep sense of awe came over them all, and the apostles performed many miraculous signs and wonders. And all the believers met together in one place and shared everything they had. It says they sold their property and possessions and shared the money with those in need. It says they worshiped together at the temple each day, met in the homes for the Lord's Yahweh Shem Yahushua supper, and shared their meals with great joy and generosity, all the while praising the Most High and enjoying goodwill of all the people. And each day the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua added to their fellowship those who were saved. All right. Now, let me go to this Ecclesiastes. This is Ecclesiastes 3 and 14. It says, I know that in the KJV, it says, I know that whatsoever the Most High doeth, it shall be forever. All right. It says, nothing can be put to it, nor anything taken from it. And the Most High doeth it, that men should fear before him. It says, that which hath been is now, and that which is to be have already been, and the Most High requireth that which is past. All right, and for these Edomites, he requires for what has passed. You like to shed blood and stuff like that. Gotta reap what you sow. All right, this is Amos 9 and 11. It says, in that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. All right, and that's going to happen. All right, very, very soon. All right, this is Titus 3 and 9. It says, but avoid foolish questions, genealogies, and contentions and strivings about the law, for they are unprofitable and vain. All right, because you will have a lot of people, they'll be coming up with foolish questions, or they'll be saying, well, prove you an Israelite by your DNA and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You just got a whole bunch of weirdos out there. Let me get this too. This is in the NLT, Titus 3 and 9 says, do not get involved, right, in foolish discussions about spiritual pedigrees, or in quarrels and fights about obedience to the Jayish laws. I'm just gonna say, basically to the Israelite laws. It says these, really to the Most High laws, statute and commandments. It says these things are useless and a waste of time. All right. So don't get into arguments and be, that's why we don't. That's why we don't go on these other people platforms and things like that, man. You know. And let me get verse 10, right? Because verse 10 it says, a man that is a heretic after the first and second admonition reject, knowing that he that is such subverted and sin of being condemned of himself. All right, with this word heretic.
Strong's G 141. Heretikas. Heretikas. Strong's G 141. Heretikas. Heretikas.
And what that say right there? It says a follower of a false doctrine. All right, you don't want to be a follower of a false doctrine. This doctrine, all right, from starting from the elders and apostles of Great Millstone on down, is the only true doctrine. All right, this is the doctrine. Okay, and the brothers, of course, the teachers are likewise. Okay, it's the only way. If you could see it, if you could receive it, you know what I'm saying. If you could see it, if you could receive it, you know, this Jeremiah 48:10. Cursed be he that doeth the work of the Lord Yahweh deceitfully. All right, and cursed be he that keepeth back his sword from blood. All right, hey, yeah, you don't want to be doing this work deceitfully. You know, you definitely don't. Let's get the regular. Let's get a. Let's get this definition for
Strong's H 7423. Remiyah.
743.
Remiyah.
423.
Strong's H 7423. Remiyah. Remiyah.
Deceit, slack, slothful, false. That's why the Lord said he don't like nobody that's lukewarm. All right, deceitfully. That work treacherously. All right, treacherously. Always absolute deceit, treacherously, especially of speech, predicate. All right, you know what deceitful mean. All right. Let's go ahead and get our next one. We about to close up in a second. It's 2 Corinthians 10:4. It says, "For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through the Most High to the pulling down of strongholds." It says, "Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of the Most High, and bringeth into captivity every thought to the obedience of Yahweh Shai, Mashiach." All right, let me grab this. This is Proverbs 27, and I start at 5. Open rebuke is better than secret love. All right, it says, "Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful." All right, so yeah, you ain't supposed to be, lying. That's what these churches do. It's like this verse 27. I mean, verse 6 is what these churches do, man. They kiss you. All right, they speak smooth things and they tell you things, and use charm to seduce your ass into being destroyed mentally and physically. All right, let's see what this says in the NLT. Proverbs 27:5. An open rebuke is better than hidden love. Wounds from a sincere friend are better than many kisses from an enemy. All right. Um, This is Proverbs 9:8. It says, "Reprove not a scorner, lest he hate thee. Rebuke a wise man, and he will lose thee." It says, "Give instruction to a wise man, and he will be yet wiser. Teach a just man, and he will increase in learning. The fear of the Lord Yahweh is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding." Okay. Romans 16:17. It says, "Now I beseech you, brethren, mark them which cause divisions and offenses contrary to the doctrine which ye have learned, and avoid them." All right, we're supposed to avoid that. All right. In the NLT, it says, Romans 16:17. "And now I make one more appeal, my dear brothers and sisters. Watch out for people who cause divisions and upsets people's faith by teaching things contrary to what you have been taught, the true doctrine. Stay away from them." All right, stay away from people like that. They talking about everybody can make it. Stay away from them niggas. All right, stay away from them niggas. Them conscious community niggas. Stay away from them. Pan Africanism. Stay away from them. Islamic. Stay away from them. Buddhism. Stay away from it. If it ain't this, stay away from it. If it's your people talking about, hey man, I'm thinking about making some money doing, stay away from them. Fuck it. I mean, well, it come to money. You might help them out with something, as long as if it ain't wicked. It ain't going off. It's 2 Thessalonians 3:6. Now we command you, brethren, in the name of our Lord Yahushua Mashiach, that ye draw yourselves from every brother that walk disorderly and not after the tradition which ye have received of us. Right? Because if you don't, you know what I'm saying, you gotta end up leaving them people alone, man. Because if you don't leave them people alone and stuff like that, you gonna end up getting tangled up with them. All right, like where it says, where it say, Salakia. Um, what is that? Salakia, y'all. Hold on. All right, this is Matthew 13 and see this. This is Matthew 13 and 7. All right, it says, and some fell among thorns, and the thorns sprung up and choked them. All right, but when you go up to let me go up a couple. I'll start at 2. Matthew 13 and 2. And great multitudes were gathered together unto them, so that he went into ship and sat, and the whole multitude stood on the shore. It says, and he spake many things unto them in parables, saying, behold, a sower went forth to sow. And when he sowed, some seeds fell by the wayside, and the fowls came and devoured them. It says, some fell upon stony places where they had not much earth, forthwith they sprung up, because they had no deepness of earth. All right, they didn't have no root in this thing. They didn't have no real root in this thing. All right. It says when they had not much earth, and forthwith they sprung up, because they had no deepness of earth. All right. You can't flourish if you don't have no deep understanding, no no deepness into this thing. All right. No grasp. You have to get roots, man. I don't know how to explain it. Your roots. You gotta have your roots in this thing. All right. Verse 6, it says, and when the sun was up, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away. All right, and that's what happens. You get people to come into this thing. You know, some people just come into to this thing because they just think it's like some type of, I don't know, some type of fucking gang or something. It ain't nothing like that, man. This ain't no game or nothing like that. This ain't no gang, no game. This ain't no fucking Three Stooges type shit, man. This ain't no get together. This ain't no. This is fucking business. This is serious ass business that we doing. But people come in here and play these games and end up falling up out of the truth. All right, or they don't take it serious enough and fall up out of the truth. All right, and like even like the one that went up here where it says, and when he sold, some fell by the wayside, and the fowls came and devoured them. All right, now you got some people will hear this word, and then you will have somebody come up to them and start speaking different things to them. They'll fall out like that, or if you got these churches on every block, they'll hear us, and then they'll go into the church the next day, or they'll just pass by you, or say, whatever Esau say to them, then they'll believe more in Esau. It's a whole lot of fucking ways how people be falling up out of this truth. But it's going into it. In verse 6 it says, and when the sun was up, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away. It says, and some fell among thorns, and the thorns sprung up and choked them. All right. So when the thorns and stuff like that. So you got different philosophies and different doctrines in this thing. You don't want to be entangled, all right, with different doctrines and stuff, because first of all, then you're gonna be breaking down the scriptures wrong, and you're gonna be lost. All right, so